Welcome back to Spotlight. The mayor is here. I just couldn't wait to say it. Mayor Brathwaite.
Oh,
Mayor Brathwaite. City manager is the correct title. Jan Brathwaite is here. Good to see you.
good to see you
know.
too.
And I always have a good experience when you come on the show. We always have a good time.
Hope we'll have a good time tonight.
Yeah, we always have a good time. The city, the city. The city. There's a lot going on in the
Yes.
city. A lot going on in the city. You must be really excited.
I am.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
So just start off and tell me what's some of the stuff going on in the city.
Actually, a number of things are going on in the city. We have appointed our Road Town Development Committee, which eventually will turn into the a lot of perspectives. Looking at doing a Andy Litter City campaign. Also looking at how we could revitalize Sir Oliver Georges Plaza, making it the grand entrance to the city of Road Town, and then looking at two prospective historical sites on Main Street, the old post office administration building and Her Majesty's Prison.
Are we ever going to move back into the post office, back into that building?
I
Because
think
we've been paying rent in two different locations over a few years.
I think we're going to move back into this old central administration building, but what we will, I'm going to leave that for a surprise for you.
Okay, because that was a central point in Road Town, down in the old Road Town, I like to call it.
Yeah.
And people used to come to the post office, and by coming to the post office, you would see the stores, and you would stop in, and you would do window shopping, and you might come back to buy. But then it's like there's nothing to come downtown for.
Right, and
other than if you're coming specifically to a shop.
Right, and we've recognized that, and that's one of the reasons why we're looking at the revitalization of the Sir Oliver Georges Plaza and the old post office, old central administration business, to see if we could create that kind of foot traffic, to create the kind of commerce. The plans for that area are exciting. I can't wait for the public input on that. We have a number of committees within Road Town who are also, in this with us, because we're not doing it alone, but because the city belongs to all of us. So we really want, when we do have the committee meetings, people come out and voice their opinions, because we may be looking at some things and other people may have other ideas that, we need to pull together.
So when are you going to break out the plans?
Actually, we sat today and we're just waiting on some decommissioning. We can start moving the process forward.
Okay, so that's gonna be cool. So, well, nightlife in Road Town always concerns me to a degree. That like late shopping. I envision late shopping, supper clubs. You come in, you have dinner, and you listen to a live artist playing a piano or instrumental, or a small band or something, and the stores are open and the city is jumping. That's my vision.
That is the vision for the city of Road Town. Keeping in mind that we have to do a balancing act, because we have a residential community in Road Town who's not used to that. So it's a little cultural shift that we are going to be doing. But yes, we are going to try to bring the city to life. We're looking at how we are going to create activities within the city, small amphitheaters, around the city where, artists will have a chance to perform so that people could see them live. And we're taking a look at bringing some of the stores outside and creating that kind of block party effect, if you call it that, especially on Fridays. We're encouraging businesses to stay open a little bit longer, so that people who would normally go home at 5 o'clock would have a reason to stay within the confines of the city. We're also looking at how we can pedestrianize, make it a little bit more pedestrian friendly on the main street and on Wickham-Ski 1, and see how that transfers into a cleaner, healthier city of Road Town. So we have excited about what the city of Road Town will look like
So you see, your committee, you say, is going to turn into a board
eventually.
And what are some of the responsibilities going to be for that
Well-
board or for the committee right now?
Well, the committee, they have championed the cause for the anti-litter campaign. And with that, we are going to have some memorandums of understanding with entities within the government so that the whole city litter situation will be a different litter situation. We want to make sure that litter is not a part of what makes the city of Road Town a beautiful place. We want to make sure that it's kept out of the city, and we're going to do what it takes to make sure that that happens.
But you got enforcement challenges, though. I don't. You were supposed to have litter wardens and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff, and I don't see any of them, and I don't see any enforcement going on. What's up with that?
Well, that is a challenge, but as we move from the Office of the City Manager under the Ministry of Communication and Works to a statutory entity, we are looking at the legislation that would enable us to have enforcement powers in a number of areas that we probably wouldn't have enforcement powers on. So litter is one thing, and the whole city, this whole situation of traffic, how the traffic is going to flow within the confines of the city, how the pedestrianization and the traffic flow, all of those things are things. How we're going to deal with parking, and I'm sure that you've noticed that is becoming a bigger and bigger challenge as we move to some of the developments that are happening within the confines of the city. People can't park where they normally park. Some of the parking was illegal parking. So, it's going to take a whole cultural mind shift within the confines of the city to bring it up to the level that we want it up to. But one of the things that we want to encourage is that people are able to park and walk within the confines of the city. You don't have to park right in front of the store to go to the store. We need to be walking a little bit more. We need to be exercising, keeping our blood and our heart pumping properly. And that's one of the things that we want to. So some of the plans that we have is for parking garages, but some of the parking garages are not necessarily right deep inside the city limits. They're probably on the outside. So we're going to try to see how we could do a park and ride situation, but try to create healthier people within the confines of the city.
But I mean, really, park and ride. I don't see how necessary a park and ride really is, because I mean, people have for elderly,
for people with challenges.
People
yes.
with challenges.
Yes.
And I mean, I walk from I park up by City parking lot, and I walk all the way down Main Street down, and wherever I go, but you always meet on the street.
Yes.
Right?
Always walking.
And I mean, it's just so great to be out in the air, in the sun.
And winning friends and influencing people.
And winning friends and influencing people, right?
Yeah.
You meet your friends, you talk, they talk politics, you talk about issues, you hang out. I mean, it takes you longer to get what you're going, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I feel more relaxed.
Yep.
And I'm certainly hoping that we could accomplish that. Now, there's a new trend in tourism. Mm-hmm. And I know tourism is your second love. Your city is your first love.
Right now, yes, it is.
Yes, tourism is your second love. And there's a new trend developing in tourism where talking about the burgeoning tourist market of physically challenged and elderly.
Right.
And that we need to prepare to capture some of that market share. Any thoughts been given to that?
Yes, actually, as we look at the overall development of the inner city, because we have the inner city now and the outer city. This whole city thing is becoming a real big thing, but it's the city. But as we look at the inner city, we are actually trying to create ways for the physically challenged to actually move around within the confines of the city and not be a hindrance to themselves or even a hindrance to vehicular traffic or pedestrian traffic. And those are things that we're looking at. How are we going to widen the sidewalks, be it within Main Street, be it on Wickham Ski 1, Wickham Ski 2.
Easier to go down the
Easier
sidewalk
to
and
go
get
down,
up on
making
the
sure
other
that the
sidewalk.
slope is the right angle slope,
Yes.
And that kind of thing. So yes, in our plans, that is major in our plans as we try to move forward.
Any trees for shade?
Trees for shade. Taking some of the trees that are not as healthy looking as we'd like them to look, and reposition them with trees that would be helpful. I'm sure that you've noticed that there's a project going on between the new Patsy Lakes building and Caribbean Insurers and that,
Yes,
that
yes,
walkway
that
up
walkway
there.
there, yes. Mhm.
And we're hoping that we can encourage more business people to step outside and create the walkway that we want. I mean, one of the things from the office of the city manager, we're prepared to put the shade trees in, the seating in, and create a beehive of activity in that area that musicians would feel free to come out, you know, and people would feel come out to do street plays and what have you. I would really like to see the city come alive in a different kind of way that, you know, we're not inhibited by anything, but we're out there and we're doing what we have to do. And I mean, I see it already and I know it's going to happen. You know, and we're going to create the environment for those things to happen.
I was talking to saxophonist Dalen Vanderpool
Right.
a few days ago, and he one day he said he opened up his saxophone case and took out his sax down by the
Crafts
Alive
Alive,
area
yeah.
and started playing just for fun. I mean, that's what you do in the city. That's what
Right.
you do in New York.
Yes,
People-
and the same thing that happens in quote unquote big cities needs
Yeah.
to happen within the confines of the city. But what I like is the fact that our city is still so small that it'll bring people together.
Yeah.
You know, I discussed with Miss Lake and her daughter about bring in One Stop Mall outside, and Umi, she's always outside, and Clovers. I mean, and the Syrians are out, but we want them to come out in a little bit more orderly fashion and really create that beehive of activities that forces people to say, I need to stay in town for a little longer. I need to stay within the confines of the city for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Now, I had dinner the other night in Bamboo Shade, and then I had I think dinner or lunch another time by Village Key, and there's a little odor still.
Right.
It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's lingering, and it's really having an impact.
Well, I can honestly say within the next couple of weeks we should be starting the sewage project. So hopefully, when we put in the new pipes from the roundabout to Board Point, we should be able to eliminate.
And that would be gone forever.
I hope and pray that it'll be gone forever. Because right now, I'm as a city manager, I've been experiencing a couple of breaks in the current pipe. So we know that we're experiencing some challenges, and we are not in the business to make sure that everybody gets their fair share, and we can't afford the stench to not. And as we look at that particular stench, as we speak of Village Key, that's one of the areas where, as we look at the plans, we want people to be able to meander and walk along the shoreline, look at the mangroves and look at the fish growth. So there's a lot going to be happening on that side of the city, to encourage people to come outside, meander, take a walk with
Hang
friends
out,
and
relax.
we just
And
relax
enjoy,
and be at the water's edge. We're trying to do a number of things that are close to the water because water is also relaxing. So, we're coming outside. We want to come outside. We want to ensure that at lunchtime, whoever is within the city is outside, and there's place for them to sit, place for them to eat, place for them to have activities, and come out and win friends and influence people. I think it's the pulling together of a small city that's going to make the difference within the Virgin Islands within the next.
And that's part of beautification. We're gonna be planting more flowers. Or
Right,
we're gonna,
planting more flowers, planting more trees, really creating aesthetics. Really, creating
Now
aesthetics.
you got the cruise pier development coming out. You just break ground.
Yes.
You're gonna have a bigger, wider dock, a longer, wider dock. You're gonna have landside development. Before that is all completed, you're gonna have some mitigation challenges. You're gonna have to deal with traffic. You're gonna have to deal with safety. You're gonna have to deal with getting people routed and what's the plan?
Actually, yes, we know we're going to have some challenges. And as we sit around the table, and we sat around the table this week and last week and looked at how we're going to, especially the foot traffic, how we're going to meander that foot traffic throughout the city of Roatan. And that's one of the things I said, the whole issue of the water side meandering is about to take place, and meandering up and meandering to, and we're also looking at how these alleyways will play a vital role in getting people from Wakehamski 1 into Main Street and out, and really creating alleyways that are comfortable for people to walk through, that are aesthetically pleasing and that kind of thing. So it's a situation where we're going to be mixing the business community with with what the office of the city manager is doing, and try to really uplift, what the city. I have people who, write to me and say, just outside of my place, is it possible for me to just fix it? And we say yes, because we all helping to enhance the city. So yes, alleyways are going to be key. So we actually preparing a survey right now to go out to talk to business people about what it is from a city perspective we could try to do to help you to ensure that you can maybe diversify your products so that that foot traffic means something to you. How much of that foot traffic will affect you is something we're going to do. And one of the things that we're trying to do within the office of the city manager is ensure that we have young people. So it's not just us at the office of the city manager doing it. We are actually trying to get young people involved. So those people will be, interfacing with the business community.
We're going to take a word from our sponsors. We're going to come back with Jan Bradford, the city manager. We're going to be talking about upcoming events in the city, developments in the city, what's going to be happening. Some things going to be happening for the preparation for festival. It's going to be a lot of information right after these words from our sponsors. Keep it locked right at the Spotlight.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and H. Labadee Stout Community College.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Jan Bradford, the city manager. There's a question I forgot to ask, so I really need to know. In terms of the littering, are there penalties for littering?
In the legislation that we're looking at, there will be penalties, yes.
Okay, because I'm trying to find out about the whole law enforcement aspect of the littering, and because we're not making any headway without consequences.
Exactly, and within the confines of the city manager, when we do our legislation, it will have penalties involved.
Okay.
Because we have to have a cleaner, healthier road town.
Now the other thing is signage. Signage.
Yes.
And signage on two fronts, because we got to be planning for Asian visitors, European visitors, South American visitors. That seems to be the general thrust of our tourism product development. And so we'll have to have different languages.
Right. And we actually are sitting and looking at how we're going to design the signs. And we actually took a walk through Main Street, actually. That's where we're going to start our signage program. And we had to make a serious decision because we had situations where you had, for instance, Russell Hill and Main Street. And we have to decide which is the main street. So it should be Main Street and Russell Hill on the top. And we need to make sure that is consistent. It's not consistent at the moment. And you don't, until I guess you get in a position like city management, you don't really see that. You see the sign, it's a sign. But now we realize that we have to do it right. It has to be Main Street. Main Street has to be the main thing, and any subsidiary street that's entering to Main Street would be on the top. We're not going to do those every single sign in every single language, but the signs that will direct you from point A to point B, getting you to particular locations, how to get to Main Street, etc., those would be signs that we do in the languages, because it becomes cumbersome when you start to use the foreign languages. But because the language of the
at least the major markets,
right,
we can have the signs of the major markets.
So it's something that we're actually looking at. We actually sat down last week and had a discussion. So we're just waiting on the templates to come through, so that we could decide, how we're going to work it out. But it should be exciting because we're going to do the branding for Main Street is going to be a little different to the branding on Wickham Ski One and that kind of things, because we want to make sure that Main Street stays historic.
Okay. Now the other thing too, and I noticed this personally, the education of the population regarding our tourism product. And what I mean by that, for example, on many occasions, I have to give tourist directions, whether I meet them on the street and I have to direct them up to the museum, the Sugar Works Museum, for example, from Waterfront Drive, Craft Alive to the Sugar Works Museum,
right.
And like you go up here by the Tamon Tree, and you know how that is, right? And educating us to learn our street signs,
right,
so that we could call the names of the streets. And say make a left on the Castro, make a right on Fleming, and really have some serious directional sense as people giving directions.
Right, and one of the ways that we at Office of the City Manager plan to do that is we are going to try to put in some wayfinders maps. So you'll actually be standing and looking at the city. So you'll be saying, I'm here, and I'm trying to get over there, and you'll be able to see it. And what we're going to do is educate people as to how to use the Wayfinders map, how you get people to the more significant places within the confines of the city. Those will be strategically placed throughout the city. You are here, and one of the major places that we plan to use is the Sir Albert Georges Plaza. And as I said to you before, I want to ensure that Sir Albert Georges Plaza becomes the grand entrance to the city of Road Town. So how we going to merge Sir Albert Georges Plaza with the old Central Administration Building and the ferry terminal is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
That's great. Crime.
Yes.
We've been having some challenges.
Yes.
Things seem to be cooling off a little bit, but
Yeah.
you're still having some challenges. How are we managing?
We're managing. We actually we've begun this conversation with the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and through the Office of the City Manager, we do have city police. That we have city police that deal with different entities within the confines of the city. Yes, and there are some cameras up and what have you. But one of our big issues is lighting, and we have written to GE, and we have been given the opportunity for them to use some of their solar and their LED lights within the confines of the city. So we actually been given a list by the police as to the placement of some of these lights. So hopefully that should help. We've also got one local business person on the island who is saying, we could provide you out with some of these lights, because these lights, they use less energy, but they are brighter and that kind of thing. So we actually were out on the road with the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force as to the strategic placing of these lights, especially now that we're talking about using alleyways. It's going to be crucial that these places are lit properly.
Now, 60th anniversary is coming up. I couldn't let you go without asking you about that. We had a block party to start out the 60th anniversary's fundraising events, which turned out to be quite good actually.
Yes, and they had a block party, and it was pretty good. But from the Office of the City Manager, we also have some exciting things that we want to do. I think as we are about to welcome the Caribbean Basketball Confederation, those set of games, we're actually going to do a different type of block party within the city. Our block party will extend a little bit wider and a little bit longer, based on the fact that the major part will be housed in the Bobby's Bolos parking lot, but there'll be activities from Sir Albert Georges Plaza all the way up to the roundabout. So it should be interesting.
And this is going to take place when?
The last Friday in June.
The last Friday in June.
Yes.
Oh,
as we welcome
weeks.
the basketball confederation. So we have some of the businesses coming outside on both sides of the street, on the back street, the Castro Street, on Francis Drive Highway. So it should be really interesting, and it's almost like a mob but sporadic. So it should be interesting on that Friday afternoon.
Okay.
I know we are concerned about traffic, but at the same time, it's going to be good.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, we need to do some different things within the confines of the city. Once we do that one, then we will have those particular events scheduled throughout the rest of the year.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We left off anything?
Yes, I have. We're scheduling the last thing during festival. We are going to have our fruit and vegetable market once again.
That's right. That was
Yes,
a big hit.
everybody's looking forward to it. At one time I was like, I'm not going to
Took us all the way back to the old days.
Yeah, take you back to the old days, and people locally can come out to that particular market. Hopefully this year it'll be bigger and better. We're not going to be selling any food to eat. It'll be only things out of the ground, things that are grown, plants and vegetables, no food. We're encouraging people to go to the festival food fair and eat the food there, but the rest of the stuff is going to be had by us, and it should be good. Same kind of feature. We have changed a little bit of.
And that's happening when?
This August Saturday.
August Saturday.
Yeah.
So a
A
lot
lot is going on in the city.
A lot going on in
is
the city.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And my only thing is, I would like to encourage people that if you see it, call me. I'm 441-8800. Call me. Let's get out and see it. Let's get it fixed. We had some little holes and stuff in the city. We patched them up because we didn't want nobody falling in these holes, because that's a whole nother story. But if you see it, and we get a lot of calls for people to come, there's trash piling up here, there's trash piling up there. If we could, we could get out there and handle it. The team is not a big team, but I'd like to publicly say that, I applaud the team because it's only 5 guys on the road, but they're doing an awesome job. By the time we leave one end of the city, it's time to get back to the other end of the city. But we try to balance it. It's tough, but we're balancing it. And hopefully we should get a little bit bigger crew so that we could you should see the men out there. It's getting there slowly. I'm concerned about my stench, but the actual cleanup of the city, I think it has taken on a different kind of role. So yes, I'm satisfied.
Great. Thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome. Anytime.
It's good. It's always good to see you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You always got the stuff going on.
Yes.
And of course, you're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yes.
and it's good. I feel really good that I have you to call on and
Yeah, man. Anytime.
when I need
Especially
to.
when it comes to the city. We need to make sure that people understand it's very important to each and every one of us, this city situation. It is.
It's good to see all of this.
Yes, thanks.
Yes, and we're looking forward to the 60th anniversary
Yes,
and all the new
big,
developments
and all the
coming.
big things.
All the
that
big
happen,
things coming. Yeah.
Some
So,
other things may pop into the mind between now and then, but yeah.
a lot of big things coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Yes, I just had a fantastic conversation with Jan Bradford, the city manager, Mayor Bradford. I like to tease her, doing a fantastic job, and as you heard, a lot going on. And of course, I want to thank her for popping in and just taking up a space for me and really sharing all that stuff with us. June 10th to 13th is Men's Health Week. It has been statistically shown that men need to pay more attention to their health. Next week, Gender Affairs Director Laura Lee Connor and National AIDS Program Coordinator Noeline Levens Clark will be here helping me shine a spotlight on men and their health and all the upcoming activities to amplify awareness of preventable diseases and encourage early detection and treatment. So make sure you tune in, men and women. Encourage your men to tune in and to take responsibility for their health. Spotlight is seen Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on JTV Channel 55 right here, and we broadcast Sundays at 2:30 p.m. Of course, you can view Spotlight on jtvlive.net. We have a special tab. Just click on it, all the spotlights show up. You see all the things that you miss, and you could watch all the spotlights that you want to watch as many times as you want, and you could use them for research. You always got valuable information. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your words of encouragement, your criticism, your suggestions. Continue to email me at jtvspotlight@yahoo.com. I'm Ed Juenko, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.